ask me how we got here, 'cause you don't know how. You say we're taking on water, yeah, we're sinking now. You're looking all concerned, like we're gonna drown, but we both know how to swim. No worries, let's float for now. Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it. I drag you out your mind, and there are days I hate you, but baby, you're still mine. And we have the best times, no matter what we do. And even when we don't, there's nobody I'd rather choose. Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it. Slow, where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me.
Every time we say goodbye, they all see that it's a lie. 'Cause we always give it one last try. Yeah, you've watched me break 1,000 times. Now I'm all alone, 'cause you never show. You say you will, but then you don't. That's how it goes. Don't wanna know. I'm turning off my mind so I get by. I just wanna be happy, happy tonight. Happier tonight. Happier tonight. Can't be waiting for you in the morning. I'ma leave without giving a warning. I'ma leave without giving a. But every time we say goodbye, we all know that it's a lie. Now I'm all alone, 'cause you never show. You say you will, but then you don't. That's how it goes. Don't wanna know. I'm turning off my mind so I get by. I just wanna be happy, happy tonight.
lost my best friend to 23. She left her body and hovered above me. I saw no shadow, I looked around, searched every building and home that I found. I saw no shadow, but felt the glow. The warmth inside me, it kept me afloat. It felt like heaven had found my bones and gave me comfort when I feel alone. Now you're gone, I'm alone. I guess it's time to get better. Through the pain, I will go alone. If I fall, break my bones, I will scream even louder. 'Cause I'm not dying alone. I lost my best friend to 23. She left her body and hovered above me. Best friend to 23. I heard the heavens crying above me. They gained an angel, I lost a friend. I felt like dying again and again. I went through hell, stared at death, but I keep fighting with each living breath. I saw no way out from where I stood. Felt like the fire had burned me for. Now you're gone, I'm alone. I guess it's time to get better. Through the pain, I will go alone. If I fall, break my bones, I will scream even louder. 'Cause I'm not dying alone. I lost my best friend.
If we try to believe in anything greater than a miracle, it wouldn't be this difficult. If we try to be a negative bull, yeah, we could be taking control, yeah. If we try to believe in anything greater than a miracle, it wouldn't be this difficult. If we try to be a negative bull, yeah, we could taking control. We could be 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 taking control. If we try to believe in anything greater than a miracle, it wouldn't be this difficult. If we try to be a negative bull, yeah, we could be taking. Let's do this shit.
What is up, Level Up Nation, and welcome to the Monday edition of LvLUp Live, your home for gaming and esports news, brought to you by OTN Media. My name is Fiasco, his name is Courtside King, but we are all friends, so you can call me John, you can call him Joey. We're friendly, we don't bite too often. So first off, welcome, as always, to the Monday edition, and welcome, Joey. How are you, sir?
Doing well, sir. It is a Monday, so it's still a little bit of a struggle. But I got to say, the later podcast recording time definitely makes it easier.
I love the 8 o'clock start time. I'm just noticing I need a massive haircut. My hair is like all floofy and whatnot. I'm just like watching myself in our little quarantine box over here. So a haircut is on my agenda for tomorrow, probably. Nation, make sure you follow the show on Twitter and Instagram. You can find the show at LvLUp Live. That is LvLUp Live. And while you're on Twitter, why not give your two favorite hosts of LvLUp Live a follow as well? You can find Joey at Courtside King. You can find myself at Fiasco. And obviously you're watching here live on Twitch. So right below that quarantine box we're currently in, Joey's over here. I'm right here. Right below those boxes right there. That's our names. That's our handles. So you can search for that as well. And Nation, as always, if you do wish to listen to the podcast version of the show, the LvLUp Podcast is available on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. And since you're listening to the podcast already, why not leave us a review on that podcatcher of choice? Reviews do go a long way to help grow the show and reach new listeners. And who knows, they might join you here live on Twitch to either compliment or harass us or troll us in the chat, which we love it all. So if you do have a moment to leave us an awesome review on that podcatcher of your choice, we would appreciate it. All right, Nation, let's get right into the Monday episode. The streaming wars in Asia are about to go through a major transformation as Tencent announces a major merger. Joey, aside from every gamer's lord and savior Tencent's global takeover, what else are we talking about on Monday's episode?
John, we got a couple more roster moves coming out, especially in the realm of Valorant, with all these tournaments continuing to pop up here and there. We're talking a tiny bit about xCloud this week. Again, we covered a lot of that last week, so just one little update there. From there, we have some other news with Amazon, Twitch Prime getting a new name. Really not a ton to this, but we're going to break it down a bit with a few of the underlying details. EA Access heading to Steam and much more.
All right, we have some amazing topics for you this Monday here on LvLUp Live. So, Joey, before we even touch on any of these topics, this is probably my favorite part of the fact of us doing this show twice a week now, is that now I get to announce 2 times a week what I get to drink. Joey, I'm talking about that time-honored tradition that is now doubled. Of course, the drink of choice, sir. Your beverage, please, for Monday, the 10th of August edition of LvLUp Live.
John, I have to go easy tonight. I am back to water for one night. Part of the reason, so I had a little, I guess we can call it like a family reunion this past weekend, and I drank a whole lot. So just out of the consciousness of my liver, I've decided to take tonight off, let's say.
Family reunions, family gatherings have a tendency to pop the tops and pop the corks on a lot of adult beverages. So I do not blame you one bit for being the responsible adult that you are, sir. and switching to water to spare your liver a third day in a row of devastation by your choice of beverage. So I'm not going to lie. I was actually running a little behind today. So I'm rocking a glass of Mountain Dew. I'm sorry. There's literally...
Oh, okay.
there's
Wait a minute.
nothing.
You build up this segment like it's something exciting, and then you give me that?
So, like, I have a bottle of Kraken. Like, I don't know if Kraken and Mountain Dew go well together. So,
No.
like, I didn't really want to try it. But, yeah. So, I mean, I had the potential. It's a Monday. I'm not a fan of Mondays. My big boy job was not fun today, and I should be drinking. But I just didn't have time. So I do apologize. So Joey, you have water. I have Mountain Dew. You still probably went on the healthy spectrum. So I will give you that. But Joey, something else you're going to win on is when you lead us into the gaming and esports news topic. So let's get right into it. Let's get right into gaming and esports news.
But before we do, John,
Okay,
I do have
fine.
to put chat at ease. Don't worry, guys. We were socially distanced. We had our masks available. I'm not over there like all up in everyone's grill. So chat, go ahead and chill over there. There's no COVID going around. We are good on that front. But on another front, we got esports news, John, and that is Valorant. Team Liquid, they have finally unveiled their Valorant team. I think we talked about this like 3 weeks ago, maybe even a month ago. It was the roster that we predicted, so it is going to be Scream, along with those 4 players from Fish 123. That's EC1S, Link, Soulcast, and Cryptix. A number of those players coming over from the CSGO scene. They're players that did decently over in CSGO, but they were never really able to make their name, let's say, on a big tournament stage. They did well in minor tournaments. They never really made it up to that big stage. Now they're trying a new game. They're moving over to Valorant. I think this is a great pickup for TL in general. A few different reasons. One, you're getting a very young roster. So you got these 4 guys coming over from Fish 123, one of the most promising EU rosters. 2, you're also breaking into Europe. So Team Liquid has some ties here and there with different regions outside of NA, but picking up 4 young talents from EU, I believe 4 of these guys are from Great Britain, if I remember correctly, over in the English area. So it's huge. It's giant to bring that new level of experience from these young players, but also that new reach. Now, as Team Liquid is one of the biggest global brands in the world, you now have further development into Europe with players like this, players that are starting to bring up their popularity, players who are starting to make it as streamers. And then you bring Scream as well. Scream is a huge player from CSGO, giant veteran. He's been around for years. A lot of people know his name. He does very well streaming. I think this is a huge win for Liquid all around.
Yeah, and this is the roster that you wanted Fnatic to pick up too, right?
It is.
Yeah, so I think we talked about it on Thursday's episode, or at least on Twitter. At least Fnatic looking like they're gonna stay out of the scene for Valorant just a little bit. So a really good pickup there for Team Liquid for their Valorant roster. Really looking excited to see how that roster is going to play out. I mean, North America is getting really spicy in the terms of Valorant, but for what it sounds like, Joey, are they going to be competing mainly in Europe, or are they going to be competing in North America also?
I don't know what the plan is for this roster, to be completely honest. I don't really know what the plan is for Valorant's esports scene at this point.
That's fair too.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how that plays out. I mean, overall, John, if we look at the teams in NA, though, TSM is performing very well. Sentinels is performing very well. You have Overwatch League Part 2 over there with FaZe Clan, who's doing quite well. C9 is doing pretty well. So there's a number of, I think we have about a big 5 so far in NA. A few other smaller orgs here and there, but at least 5 teams with pretty high-profile players, either from different teams, whether it be Overwatch League, CSGO, whether it be up-and-coming streamers. There's a lot of talent in NA, and really EU, it's pretty much dominated by G2 at this point. Like, you have a few other teams here and there that are smaller, like Party Parrots, who might get bought out by Phoenix One, but really it is G2 just dominating EU right now. In addition to those Valorant moves, John, your favorite esports scene over there, Clash Royale, Team Liquid has also added a player to their Clash team, and that is going to be Razor. Again, not the biggest of scenes when we look at the full spectrum of things. It's not League of Legends. It's not CSGO. It's not even Dota 2. But when you look at mobile games, Clash Royale continues to do very well, continues to impress. It's up there. I wouldn't say it's Age of Kings because that is giant in China. But overall, when you look at the full spectrum of mobile games, it does quite well. So I think this is good. Liquid does very well in that scene, continuing to reinvest in it. I feel like it's a much less of a, let's say, budget constraint compared to some of these other rosters. You're really not paying players as much as you would like a Valorant roster or a CSGO roster or a League of Legends. But overall, they continue to invest in it. They continue to find success in it as well. So I don't see any bad move here with Razor. I don't know if it's a game-changing move either, but they seem to do well in Clash, and I think they're making the right moves. Anything else on TL roster moves, sir?
Nope. I'm excited to see that Valorant roster in action for Team Liquid.
Excellent. Over to T1. They have announced their second Valorant roster, as if one was not enough. They say, we have our NA roster, and we're also going to pick up a South Korean roster as well. This is going to be coached by Locomotive, with the players Esperanza, 10X, Frostin, Rocket, and Sunday fielding for that team. This is an interesting move. When you look at, let's say League of Legends, for example. So there were a few teams in League of Legends that had multiple rosters. Dignitas was one of them at one point, I believe. They had a NA roster and an EU roster. When we eventually moved to franchising, Dignitas had to make the decision. Which roster do we keep? Are we going to keep the NA one? Or are we going to keep the EU one? They ended up keeping NA, and now we are here today, and they've somehow made playoffs with a terrible record. But it worked out for them. So one of the big things with this T1 roster is if we continue to see Valorant expand at the rate it does, if we continue to see it eventually move under one organizer like we did with League of Legends, do we eventually have to have them make a decision on these rosters? Or are we going to see something more like Counter-Strike where they can potentially field two rosters in different regions and they keep their NA team separately from their South Korean team until they eventually maybe play in the same tournament as one another, like an international event, and then they can only field one roster for that event?
Yeah, I kind of see this as how like Cloud9 handled Overwatch before Overwatch League came out. They had their NA team, they had their Korea-based team. I feel like that's kind of the move they're making right now until it becomes better organized in the Valorant esports scene. So until there's that overall umbrella, like an LCS, like an LCK, that Riot would put out, I feel like this is a good move because, you have different teams competing. That's twice the amount of players that you can scout to see how they improve. And ultimately what Cloud9 ended up doing when Overwatch League came to fruition and they got the London spot, they ended up taking that Korean roster over to London and making that their main team and releasing that North America roster. But that North America roster was playing incredibly well themselves, and a lot of them got picked up by different organizations. But I feel like that was a great opportunity for Cloud9 to kind of judge those players based upon their regions and the tournaments that they went in to compete for those final spots once that umbrella of Overwatch League was finally announced. I see T1 doing the same thing here with having these dual rosters, and I actually like the move overall. It allows for more pros to get into the scene, a lot more people to get exposure, and who knows, it may jumpstart a lot of people's careers going forward, even if T1 ends up just going with one roster in the future.
Well, it also opens them up for trades as well. Like if they lock these players down for a couple of years and someone ends up wanting to jump in either in the NA scene or the South Korean scene, now you have players that you could possibly trade away as well and make a profit on. So not to make players sound like pawns or anything like that, but it is definitely something to keep in mind business perspective wise as well with this move. And John, I think Cloud9, it was actually 3 rosters, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I want to say it was 3. I couldn't remember where the third one was, so I didn't want to say it.
Yeah, because I think London ended up being a merge of 2, and then they got rid of the other one in NA. But yeah, it was craziness. C9 making the big moves and ended up getting them a championship there in the first season. Over to CSGO, but jumping back to Team Liquid, they have added Jason Moses O'Toole as their new CSGO head coach. John, this is the second commentator that Liquid has converted over to a coach this year. TL Jat is their first coach with League of Legends, formerly a commentator for LCS. He had a little bit of a rough spring split, we can say. They did not do well. I think Liquid ended around 5th or 6th in the spring. But now in summer, they are killing it, doing very well. I believe they secured the first seed this past week, if I remember correctly. So Liquid looking really good overall, taking someone who was in commentary, who ended up studying the game, who ended up studying a lot of these opponents, a lot of the teams, a lot of the tactics, and then converting them over to a coach. It worked really, really well in League of Legends, even with that bumpy spring split. I think Moses could do the same thing with CSGO, though. This is someone who's been around the scene for so long. He knows a ton of the players, both new and veteran. He knows tactics. He knows maps. He knows how to study it and strategize around it. I think this could be another really, really big move for Team Liquid.
Yeah, I think the idea of casters becoming coaches may be like one of those hidden gems because of just how much studying casters have to put into the pro scene. Take a look at Golden Boy, right? Someone who's made his name as a caster for multiple titles. He does it, on a very, very high level. He's been the main MC for a lot of tournaments, for a lot of homestands and Overwatch League. I mean, he's everywhere. Now he's trying his hand at Valorant, and he's admitted that, it's a struggle for him because it's really his first kind of FPS that he really wants to learn and really wants to dedicate himself to. And you can see him grow over time in his calls because he has that better understanding of the game. To be able to break down strategy, you have to understand that strategy. You have to understand that game. So when casters make that jump, a lot of times they have the same amount of in-depth knowledge that players have, that other coaches in the scene already have, because they have to be able to break down strategy, break down plays in those games, to the casual viewer. Now, when you're working with pro players, you have that higher understanding that you're able to come up with different techniques, because maybe you have noticed something that, this technique, when you're going through banana for CSGO didn't work. But maybe if you tried it this way, maybe if you threw a smoke grenade over here versus there, it adds a different kind of competitive advantage, if you will, having someone who has that really good in-depth knowledge from a caster position. So I really like it. I think Team Liquid's onto something here.
Well, the other thing is just spots. Like when you look at CSGO, the op positioning is huge. And one of the things that players know, you kind of get an idea of where people are going to opt from just from playing solo queue or from playing team games. But when you look at the caster perspective, they're seeing it throughout the whole time. They know the position in these guys. They've watched them hundreds upon hundreds at a time in the case of Moses, and you're finding out where people tend to go. They might not go there every time because they obviously want to switch up tactics here and there as a team and as a player, but they start to learn tendencies. They start to say, okay, this guy likes this position the most. He has the most kills from this position. He has the most kills using this gun. And they end up starting adapting strategies based on that. To bring that commentary perspective to a coaching side, now you have a whole nother level of analyzation that's been done for you to be able to prepare for that other team. So this guy has already studied hundreds upon hundreds of hours for a lot of these teams. So instead of bringing in a new analyst that is just getting access to some of this information besides watching games online, this person has had all of that for years to come, or for years and for many years to come through connections. So I think, it's just a huge move. Do I think this is the last time they do it? Absolutely not. I could see them doing this again with Dota 2. I could see them doing this again in a multitude of scenes. So we'll have to wait and see how it goes. But so far, I would say experiment number 1 was quite a success, taking home number 1 in the summer.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if other organizations started doing this also, taking a look at possibly trying to lure casters away from the booth to the coaching scene because of that understanding.
Yeah, absolutely. And we kind of went over this before, but casters do not make the most of money either. That's been a big complaint. Monte Cristo brought it up years ago. Like, one thing is the money cap for casters. The other thing that comes up a lot is where can they progress to? What is the next step after becoming a caster? Now with Jap moving over to coaching, with Moses moving over to coaching, doesn't mean every caster is meant to go to coaching, but maybe this is another path. So they can continue to excel. They can continue to find a way up. Like Quickshot found his way up to another role in the LEC, and he's killing it over there. But then some other coaches like Jat here, moving from a commentator to a coach, has done really well too. So another pathway for casters. Absolutely love that too. Version 1 has hopped into Rocket League. John, you're going to like this roster. They have a star-studded roster, and it includes former C9 stars Gimmick and Torment. They have teamed up with AXB, as well as coached by legendary player Fireburner. So this is big, John. C9 decided, hey, we like the Rocket League scene. It's done well to us for years. We're going to step away, though. We don't feel like the scene is going in the direction we want it to. I'm going to say I agree with C9. I think there's definitely big changes that need to come to the Rocket League scene. And I think some of the stuff they're starting to do now with this new format breakdown is going to start moving it in that direction. With that being said, C9 decided to step away, and it did make way for version 1, and they are coming onto the scene with a very hot roster to kick things off.
Yeah, Gimmick and Torment, 2/3 of the amazing C9 team that won Worlds several years ago. It was absolutely awesome. Got a chance to meet both of them when the Rocket League championship was here in the DC area. Great players. I'm pumped for this version 1 team. I may have to adopt them as my Rocket League team, in all honesty. It stinks that Squishy went separate ways. I believe he's with NRG now. So Squishy Muffin being the other member of that Cloud9 team, moving on to NRG. But if you're looking for a Rocket League team with some proven talent and some veteran leadership, Gimmick, Torment, and AXB on version 1. That's going to be a solid roster lineup that's going to compete in pretty much every tournament going forward. So I'm really, really excited for version 1 making the jump in there, and I'm super excited for Gimmick and Torment to now get back on a team in the Rocket League scene.
Sorry, I'm adding a note here because I forgot to put something under this next topic, which is xCloud, John. So Microsoft and SK Telecom have dropped a new commercial ahead of Project xCloud's launch in Korea. It did extremely well over in beta over there. South Korea just picked it up and absolutely loved it. They saw a huge increase in mobile gaming during the time of the beta, and it continued to grow over the course of it as well. So on top of that, they are also promising more Korean-based games as well. So Xbox devoting themselves to more Asian-based studios. They've already talked about their love of Japanese games. Now they're looking more into South Korean developers as well. So that should be on the horizon. Give it a few years, though. Now, one other thing with this. So we mentioned a lot of xCloud last week about Apple and that whole thing that's still kind of going around. Google has now joined in the fight yelling at Apple, and everyone's kind of going back and forth all over the place. So it's a giant mess. Facebook, I think, is yelling at Apple too. I don't know how all that's going to break down just yet. So we'll keep covering that for you guys, but no other real details on top of that so far. One other big thing regarding xCloud, though, Xbox Game Pass Early Access is going to start tomorrow for Android users. So if you are an Xbox Game Pass Ultimate member, and this has now been confirmed as of like an hour ago, starting tomorrow, they're going to allow Android users to play on xCloud. So if you have an Android device, whether it be a tablet, whether it be a mobile phone, and you have Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, you'll have access for a month ahead of time before everyone else to go ahead and test the new look of xCloud, try to stream your games. You can stream from your Xbox. You can stream from the Microsoft servers as well. I believe the blades right now are based on Xbox One Series or Xbox One S or something like that. So those will be upgraded later in 2021. But for now, that's what they have. If you want to check it out, again, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and an Android device of some sort, and it is all good to go. It'll be coming to PC later this year as well.
Just real quick, chat. Just because I'm a fan of Apple doesn't automatically make me sad that they're not going to have xCloud. Like, again, last episode where Joey lambasted Apple, like I can understand where Apple's coming from. I may not necessarily agree with the move, but I do understand where they're coming from. But I also think Joey's criticism is 100% valid. Not trying to defend Apple. They don't need to defend themselves. I mean, Joey had very valid points when it came to cloud-based streaming, when you have Netflix and even music services like Spotify and everything else too on the Apple platform, and then you're going to draw the line at games. You know, it's a valid criticism, but at the same time, like, maybe I just don't feel as strong about it, but it doesn't make me a sad Apple fanboy, okay? Thank you.
And chat does bring up another good point, YouTube too. So yeah, YouTube would fall into that same stuff too. And is Apple going to regulate every single YouTube video?
Oh God.
You can bet your bottom dollar they are not touching that, ladies and gentlemen. But not to defend you, John. Well, yeah, to defend you. Let's say to defend you. I have an iPhone as well, and I am not planning on switching from an iPhone just because xCloud is not available on it. Now, if I look to get a tablet in the future, maybe I start debating, do I go with a Surface or a Samsung Galaxy Tab instead of an iPad? That's very possible. But I am not going to go out and switch my phone out before September 15th just because xCloud is not available. So I get it. I'm not a fan of Apple's move at all here, and I think I made that pretty clear last week. But I'm also not going to rush out and switch my phone just because of it just yet. Chinese organization LvLUp Esports announced a partnership with Logitech. John, this follows, I believe it was Monday or Thursday of last week. We talked about it. LvLUp signed quite a few $million contract with Riot Games, saying we want broadcasting rights in China for 3 years for MSI, Worlds, and I think there was one other event, maybe Rift Rivals. Not 100% sure on what that third event was, but they signed this contract. Now they're coming out and signing more contracts. They have this partnership with Logitech now. It comes shortly after signing that one we just spoke about last week. On top of that, I don't know what it is yet, John, but they're saying expect something new from this Logitech partnership to be shown later this year at Worlds 2020. So that could be as simple as a sponsor spot. That could be a commercial. We really don't know. It could be a huge giveaway. It could really be anything. But again, LvLUp Esports not afraid to spend money right now, spending big dollars for this exclusivity rights, and now this Logitech partnership.
I'm calling it right now. The Logitech gaming chair is going to make an appearance. They're going to give away the gaming chair, and it's going to be the gaming chair on stage. It's not going to happen, but why not? It's a $1,500 chair. Ridiculous.
Oh, the Herman Miller one?
Yeah.
It could be. I think it's going to be something on the live stream for the Chinese end only, to be completely honest.
That's probably
like
fair.
Bilibili doesn't have rights for any of the other broadcasts. It's just purely the Chinese broadcast. So I think it could be, I'm going to say an interview hotspot. I think it'll be this interview brought to you by Logitech or something like that. Maybe they do giveaways here and there with Logitech branded stuff, but I don't expect it to be as big as they're making it sound. Tencent, another giant Chinese company, they're officially planning to merge Huya and Douyu, the two largest game streaming sites in China. Okay, guys, so let's put this into perspective. Huya and Douyu are much bigger than Mixer. These are like, I'm going to say like Twitch. I mean, they're somewhere in the middle between Twitch and YouTube gaming, if we're being completely honest. And China is ginormous. There are millions upon millions. What is there? Over 1 billion people in China right now? I don't even know the number, but it is giant. China is huge. China has a ginormous population. John's probably going to go stat check that one for me. But on top of that, these are giant platforms. You have a lot of gamers in China. Gaming in general, esports in general is so big over in Asia and Southeast Asia, South Korea. You look at China, you look at Japan, it just continues to grow and grow and grow. There are a number of viewers over there, from watching the pro scene to watching amateur streamers. So now you're coming in and planning to merge two of the biggest streaming services in Huya and Douyu, and it is supposedly going to be finalized within a month's time, John. They're looking at finalizing this deal by early September, and it will become a mega Twitch of China if this deal does get approved.
Joey, when it does become the mega Twitch of China, all 1.4 billion people of China will be able to watch their favorite esport and streamers on this amazing new platform. Joey, fun fact, China is growing at a 0.6% growth rate. 0.6% of 1.4 billion. That's a lot of people. My gosh.
I mean, it's just giant. Like China itself is growing. Gaming is growing as well. And so is esports, especially over in Asia. And then you look at Tencent. So Tencent, China, I mean, just over the past month, they've bought 5 studios out. They've established a new one somewhere like near Santa Monica or San Francisco. Mm-hmm. Now they're merging these two giant platforms. So yes, the US can go ahead and ban TikTok and ban WeChat or whatever. And Tencent's like, okay, you take those away. We'll just merge something and make it bigger than Amazon's Twitch over here in China. And we'll continue to roll in the dough. I mean, it's just crazy to me how much money Tencent is throwing at everything right now. I think this is a huge move. Like, do I know anything about Huya and Douyu? Nothing outside of looking at their viewership numbers. But when you look at something as big as Twitch and you imagine how much of a following that has, and then you imagine two things that are slightly smaller than Twitch coming together, I mean, that is just a freaking ginormous platform. Obviously, the Chinese government, different things can be regulated differently over there. And we've made that very clear in a few different episodes around gaming and esports. But now with this coming together, if it gets approved, John, this will be the biggest streaming platform in the world.
Yeah, it's going to be huge, and it's going to be a massive competitor. And I think it will just be a matter of time until it actually makes its market into the Western Hemisphere too. It seems to happen on a lot of the popular platforms, like it happened with TikTok. An app that kind of filled the void after Vine died. Thanks, Twitter. It's just a matter of time. Like the streaming wars, aren't just between YouTube and Twitch and RIP Mixer, and Facebook gaming. It's going to be an international war between streaming companies as well. Like this is going to come to the Western Hemisphere, to Western countries sooner rather than later. And it's going to be a major, major competitor, and they're going to have a lot of money behind it.
So if you're the one behind this merger, do you take one of the names like Huya or Douyu? Do you merge them and make it Huyu? Or do you just say, hey, we're just going to buy out the rights for Brian before it even comes alive?
I mean, personally, I would say you would make a new name, because you don't want to play favorites, because you may tick off some people. And if you're merging the two companies and you're merging the employees together too, you don't want to play favorites. So just brand it under a new name. Like, do something fun. Like, call it, I don't know, Facebook Gaming, something original. It's not original. It's terrible. No, I mean, I think you call it something different. I do like Huyu. I think that is kind of fun.
It's a cute little ship between the two, We'll have to. I don't know
Ship
what
it.
either one of these. They might have a meaning too that I just do not know. I have not brushed up on my Mandarin recently, outside of some Mandarin oranges. So we'll have to see what that ends up becoming. But either way, if it does go through, this will be the biggest streaming platform in the world. bigger than Twitch, bigger than YouTube gaming, bigger than Facebook gaming, bigger than the 5 viewers on Mixer. It will be ginormous.
And it will not be OTN TV. Sorry, T-Spans.
Ooh. Yeah, Tencent. You know where to find us.
Have your people call our people. That's us. So it's,
So Amazon, are they preparing for this? No, not really, but they are doing some nice little branding changes here. Amazon is rebranding Twitch Prime to Prime Gaming. So those of you who pay for an Amazon Prime membership, now you have your Prime Video, you have your Prime Music, and now your Prime Gaming as well. To make it clear, members in line with other Amazon products. So again, just like I said, everything has that Prime whatever. Prime Gaming kind of fits right into that. This was technically confidential until like a couple hours ago, but it was leaked this morning via Slasher. And we know Slasher does not sign NDAs. He makes that very, very clear. So someone leaked it to him, and he decided, let's just leak it to the whole world because that's what he does. So that is how we got that information. John, I like this move. Again, I don't feel like this is a giant move in general, at least branding wise. I think this is just saying, hey, you guys already know these other benefits by this name. Might as well make this in line too. Personally, I think there's more to this. We know that Amazon has a cloud gaming service in the works to rival stuff like Stadia, xCloud, NVIDIA GeForce Now. This to me is a closer move to that service as well.
Yeah, and apparently the Prime Gaming site on Amazon's website is now live. Everything else too. The announcement was interesting. Like I get the rebrand. It makes sense when you want to keep it in line with everything else that you're doing. Joey, did you read through this brand guidebook that was released to Twitch partners in regards to what Prime Gaming is going to bring to the table?
Are you talking like the 20 page guide or whatever?
Well, yeah, I'm just talking about the parts that Slasher was nice enough to screenshot and share. I'm a big fan of the emotional benefits of Prime Gaming. Positive surprise from drops of unannounced titles and perks, a sense of value from the most comprehensive and cost-effective subscription service. I don't know if Prime Gaming I would consider cost-effective. I mean, a Prime subscription is very expensive. The feeling of uniqueness with limited exclusive items not available by other means. On an emotional level, I don't know if that does it for me. I like where they're going with this, but I do not feel emotionally satisfied based upon that short little blurb. Like that doesn't make me want to buy. Like if I did not have Amazon Prime already, if I did not get Prime Gaming, like this to me just doesn't get me excited to buy this. The emotional benefits, I think, it's a little wonky.
No, I'm completely with you. I mean, if you're going to buy Amazon Prime or Prime Gaming in this case, you're going to do it for the shipping cost or the reduced shipping cost. You're going to do it for maybe Prime Video with series like Man in the High Castle and different exclusive series that have popped off on there. I don't think you go out and do it for the gaming perks. Like getting an extra little legend in League of Legends for TFT every month. Okay, that's nice. Getting an extra card in Legends of Runeterra. Yeah, that's nice. A new skin in World of Tanks. Ooh, that's really going to pop off. I mean, just in general, like there's some cool stuff they throw in there. There's free games here and there. They used to do like 5 indie games a month. I think that's coming back too. So it's nice. But they're not going to pay that much for it. If you want to get little games like that, you'll buy a Humble Bundle. So if you're really subscribing to Amazon Prime or Twitch Prime in this case, now Prime Gaming, in its current iteration, you're not going to buy the Prime membership just for gaming. It's just not going to happen. I don't really see anyone doing that. Now, if they add cloud gaming to it, then I think it becomes something that they might look into. If it's trying to rival Stadia and it's trying to rival Microsoft's platform, if I can get cloud gaming for a price, and on top of that, I like to order things, so I get that shipping, and then I like to watch videos, so I get Amazon Prime Video and all that, then I think it makes a little bit more sense, and gaming can be a bit more of a driver. But in the current iteration, where it's just some drops here and there, you get some fun little games or some little in-game cosmetics. Yeah, I like my Purple Monkey and Sea of Thieves, but am I going to pay $100 something a year? What is it, $129 now, something like that? It wouldn't be worth it. So I think it's a move in the right direction. I like the branding more than the actual content itself, but I could see more and more coming from this later down the road. Activision, John, we did not get a crate, but a number of giant content creators did. Activision sent these crates to say, do not open this crate until August 10th at 12 p.m. Eastern time. Eastern time, by the way, guys, best coast, hey, to a selection of COD content creators. So the crate contained, after it was opened by all these content creators, which was very hard to find exactly because everyone made these like 3-hour YouTube videos of them playing Call of Duty highlights beforehand. It's like, guys, just give me what's in the crate, bro. Like, what's going on here? Anyway, after scouring all these, I found out it was an old-timey projector with coded images and maps that teased the launch of the theme of the next Call of Duty. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't want this teaser, cover your ears. It's going to be Call of Duty. This was not in the crate, by the way. We just know this ahead of time. It's going to be focused around the Cold War, guys. So it's going to focus on that Russian combat, the United States combat, all of the forces involved with the Cold War. It's practically official. They haven't dropped the name yet. We're going to get more details on that with another teaser to come on August 14th, which is this Friday. I'm 99.9% sure it will be Cold War, unless it's some crazy rumor that got things changed around, and it's been that way for months. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But John, what are your thoughts in general of this teaser? I like the idea. It's something different. It's something fresh. I don't feel like it got the social media credit that it deserved, though. It kind of fell flat.
Yeah, it definitely did have more of a bust kind of hype to it. It really wasn't. It wasn't trending on Twitter. It wasn't really popping off anywhere. It was just kind of. It just kind of happened. Like, I'll be completely honest, I didn't realize it happened until I was reading the show notes here earlier today. I think that's kind of sad considering how big of a game COD is. I personally am a fan of the idea of going back into history with COD for the Cold War. So I'm right there with you. I do think it is going to be Cold War. I really hope it is Cold War. COD made its name originally from being a World War II game, and they kind of got a little sci-fi on us for a little bit. I do kind of like that. And I like this idea of slowly leaking hints to the fan base. I'm just kind of, I guess the biggest shock here is the fact that it's not getting a lot of traction. Like, a lot of people are not paying attention to the fact that there is this secret crate sent out to content creators that could only be open today. The fact that there is another teaser linked to this Friday, like, that's not getting hype. That's not getting that play in social media that you would expect, a game like COD to get. So it's kind of odd to see COD falling a little flat here. Hopefully some more hype can be built up around this August 14th teaser. So it's definitely something I'll be looking out for on Friday.
Yeah, I mean, it was huge this morning, and I was like, okay, 9 a.m., got my cup of coffee, like, yeah, let's open this crate in 3 hours, and then I just forgot about it. And then I went on Twitter later, and I could not find anyone opening this crate except for these YouTube videos that, again, are like 3 hours long for like 15 to 20 minutes of content. I was not a big fan of it. It just kind of drove me a little bit crazy, but hey, it's Call of Duty. It's kind of what they do. If we're talking about going back, though, with Call of Duty, John, I mean, we could play a little thing here, like, what's your favorite Call of Duty? But what I want to say is, why do we have to have a Call of Duty every single year? Like, what about the good old days where Call of Duty released like every couple years or every few years, and we could actually enjoy a game for that full length of time, instead of all these people loving Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the best-selling Call of Duty of all time, to my knowledge at this point. It has a huge player population, very well loved right now, and you're going to come out and drop another game that goes back years upon years, completely different gun style coming out, completely different developer, so it's going to feel different. Then you're going to have to redo your whole esports scene. You're going to have people buy this brand new title, which is the reason Activision is doing this to begin with. But it drives me crazy. Like, Call of Duty Modern Warfare is so well done. That is a game with Warzone, with the multiplayer in general. It could last for years upon years. And I really think they're cutting its lifespan a little bit short. I think Call of Duty Cold War, or whatever it ends up being named, is going to do well. Call of Duty always sells pretty well. But I don't think it's going to touch Modern Warfare. I just don't see this developer. I think it's Treyarch developing this one. I don't really see them touching what Infinity Ward did with Modern Warfare. And I think a lot of people, kind of like what happened with World at War, a lot of people will go back to that previous game and continue to play it. I would like to see more support for Modern Warfare, maybe for another year. But hey, this is how Activision does things. They want to charge you another $60, $70 every single year for a new Call of Duty game and completely shake the earth with different details and things like that. Frustrates me, but hey, we're getting a new game whether like it or not.
Yeah, like, I guess the thing that bothers me the most is, like, I get it from a multiplayer perspective, but as someone who enjoys playing the story mode, who enjoys that PvE content, when you put out games year after year after year, instead of waiting a year or like probably like 2 or 3 years in between games, you know for a fact you're getting your PvE content cut. You're getting maybe 2 or 3 hours of content, because let's be real here. It takes time to develop those levels, to develop that storyline, to develop everything you need to put into that game. If you have 2 years to do it, you know, you can be guaranteed you're going to have 4, 5, maybe 6 hours of story mode content, of PvE content, plus a multiplayer that seems like it just gets recycled with new guns. The maps just get recycled with new looks and they call it a day kind of feel to it. But when you're going to be charging a premium of $70 on average for a next gen game for maybe 2, maybe 3 hours of storyline content, PvE content, and you're just going to be pushing the multiplayer aspect of it, that starts to get a little pricey for not a whole lot of content.
Chat wants you to come make the game, John, if you think you could do better.
Oh, no, I am not a game designer by any means. That's why I'm saying I would rather have 2 years or 3 years in between games, because I want that better content. I want that longer storyline. I want, like, I'm a lore junkie. I've never made that hidden. I love stories. I love it when developers and studios are able to tell an amazing story. So one of the reasons why the Life is Strange games are so attractive to me, it's because that story just grabs you and sucks you into that story. And at the end of the game, you have that amazing emotional response to it. That's what makes a great game. That's what video games used to be. Like, that was the idea behind platformers. They were telling a story. Like Mario, like Zelda tells a story. Banjo-Kazooie told a story. Now it's like it's so focused on multiplayer, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it comes at the cost of these amazing ideas being so shrunk down for the PvE storyline, and those PvE players that do enjoy the lore get left aside, because obviously the multiplayer side of things is a lot larger. But, you know, c'est la vie. Like, I would just like to see more PvE story-based effort put into Call of Duty, like back in the World War II era for Call of Duty, which graphically at the time was absolutely amazing and just so accurate to like what storming the beach of Normandy looked like. Like, that was a huge thing in video games. That's the kind of stuff I like to see. Don't get me wrong, I still like the multiplayer aspect of it too, but give me storming of the beaches of Normandy style of content and you have me hooked.
Yeah, I think that could be huge, but just not for the Call of Duty franchise. Like, I mean, when you look at it in general, it's very fun to play through the campaigns, but 90%, and that's just an estimate, but the majority of your players are there for multiplayer. If you're going to buy a war-based kind of strategy game, you're looking at Medal of Honor, you're looking at something like that it prides itself more on the story. Call of Duty, while it's had cool stories, I think Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare had a great story. This previous one supposedly had a very good story. I actually have not played through it yet. But in general, you don't really play for the story if you're buying a Call of Duty title. You're playing for that multiplayer. And I think that's my issue here. The fact that we have a great multiplayer here in Modern Warfare for the most part, yet it only is going to last 1 year. It got great updates, awesome content updates. I think it just had its 5th one this month. Now we're looking at it and it's like, okay, so we have this new content and we're going to have a month and a half to play it before this new game comes out potentially. That to me is a bummer. Like, they keep adding great stuff to this. I would love to see it continue to add on. On top of that, John, and this is just a little far off, Halo Master Chief. When you look at the way they did that collection, I think it's brilliantly done. They combined all the Halo stories, all the Halo multiplayers into one giant game. Now, with Call of Duty, with this one running at, who knows, 100 gigabytes at this point, it might be a little crazy to think of doing that with Call of Duty, but I would love to go back and be able to play through all those old stories again. They're remastering a ton of the games. They've done Call of Duty 4. They did Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. So they're going back and remastering these campaigns. I'd love to see them throw it into one giant collection, even if they charge a DLC price or whatever for each game, just to be able to go back and play through some of those campaigns. I think would be a ton of fun for sure. EA Access for PC is coming soon to Steam. John, this is interesting. We're not going to spend a ton of time on it, but EA does have Origin. A lot of people hate Origin. Origin has gotten nicknames like phishing, malware. It's pulled up just about everything from gamers. Gamers prefer Steam, and some of those gamers prefer the Epic Game Store as well. So EA is saying, okay, We hear you. We're not going to make you make every purchase from Origin moving forward. We're going to start giving you some accessibility on Steam. Now, I own EA Access on Xbox, Sean. It is terrible. It is probably the worst subscription I have ever paid for, and I forgot to unsubscribe for it, and that's why I'm paying for it currently. It's $30 a year, and you get access to quite a few titles. So it's like 100 some titles, which doesn't sound terrible. But what do people look for EA? Some people look for the Battlefronts and different things like that, but a lot of people go to EA for their sports games. So when do the sports games get put into the EA Access vault, you asked, John? About 2 to 3 weeks before the new one comes out. So yes, I just got access to the last Madden and the last FIFA. And it's like a year later. Like, it's so frustrating to me. I don't like the EA Access service. I think it's terrible. Congratulations, Steam. You can now have FIFA 3 weeks before the new one comes out if you want to get it for your $30 a year or whatever it costs on PC. Just not a fan of the service. I like EA going to Steam, though. I think that makes it a bit more accessible. I would like them to look at just making their titles available there instead of this EA Access service, though.
I mean, can you imagine someone going, hey, look, I'm so excited I can finally play the latest edition of FIFA on EA Access on Steam. FIFA 18 is going to be great. FIFA 21's coming out in like 3 months. Yeah, okay.
It's so trash.
It's awful.
Drives me crazy. But yes, I forgot to unsubscribe. So I paid another $30 a year, which again is not the end of the world, but I could have bought something much more interesting. I could have bought Fall Guys with $30. But instead, I gave it to EA to give me FIFA a year and a half later.
Fall Guys is free on PlayStation Plus right now.
I've already bought it on Steam. It is pretty darn fun, though.
I'm going to download on my PlayStation after the show.
Do it. It only lasts for a couple more days, I believe. So
I know. I got to get it.
Warner Brother Game Studios. Guys, we talked about this before. Activision, EA, Take-Two, and Microsoft were all looking at possibly purchasing the studios. We were always in doubt if they were actually going to get sold by AT&T. Now AT&T has come out and said they will not be sold, at least for now. We don't know what now means. It could be this week. It could be this month. It could be this year. We really have no idea. This was confirmed in a recent email to staff. This coming from CEO Jason Killar. It remains part of our studios and networks group, all focused on engaging fans in our brands and franchises through games and other interactive experiences. So again, not super clear, John. We know for now that it's going to stay with it. I kind of, looking back, think this might have just been AT&T drumming up a lot of support for their studios, kind of patting their own back and saying, hey, we have all these games that we're going to announce here in August, and now we have all the eyes on us at this point. On top of that, one of those studios is Rocksteady, John, and they have teased a new Suicide Squad game to be shown at DC Fandom, and that's going to be on August 22nd. There's a teaser image of Superman with a crosshair on his head as well. I'm stoked for this. I don't feel like we have many games where you kind of play as the villain. What is it? Carry On, that just got released from Devolver Digital, is one of those games. You kind of play as a lab experiment gone wrong. This is something different. Now taking over the Suicide Squad, whether you're playing as Harley Quinn, whether you're playing as multiple different people, I'm not 100% sure. But at least from the teaser image, I feel like this could be about hunting Superman, or maybe even going after the full Justice League.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I'm right there with you. There's not enough video games from the bad guy's perspective, if you will. And I feel like it's really weird. The amount of people in modern society that hate it, when like even in movies, they try to humanize the bad guys. Like they try to make you feel sorry for them. And then now, a video game coming out where you're playing as the bad guys, you're playing, from what we know, you may be hunting Superman, that's going to rub people the wrong way, because the hero's supposed to win. The hero's supposed to save the day, not the bad guys. But in real life, it's not always that way. I kind of really welcome this change. If this really is a Suicide Squad game that's going to be hunting Superman down, I think that's going to be really, really awesome. And I want more content like that. I think that's like one of the things that rubbed people the wrong way with Joker, the movie, that won, several Academy Awards. A lot of people didn't like it because it was a dark movie. It showed the bad side, if you will, of Batman. So, it rubbed people the wrong way, but I loved it. I thought it was an absolutely fantastic origin story, if you will. And now having that in a video game style as well, I think it's going to be awesome. I think Rocksteady is onto something here.
Yeah, Rocksteady's super talented studio as well. On top of that, Monolith also has a new game to show. To my knowledge, it will be shown here at this same event, the Fandome, on August 22nd. So it could be superhero related. Again, it's a DC Fandome. I don't know what the game could be, though. They've done quite a few different awesome RPG style games. So it could be something around a different superhero. Obviously, Batman usually falls under Rocksteady. They could go a different route. I think Aquaman is a possibility. Green Lantern could be another possibility. So there's a bunch of different superheroes that are supposedly, I guess we can say, being discussed for games in the works. I don't know what was ever approved or what was not, but I know those are some of the ones that were tossed around. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. That should be exciting, though. Again, that's the DC Fandome on August 22nd. From that, John, let's head over to our eSport League updates. We just have a couple this week. We're going to kick things off with Valorant. FaZe's Ignition Series tournament came to an end this past weekend. TSM took down Sentinels on a 5th tiebreaker map. John, it went the distance. We went to Silver Scrapes Valorant Edition, that 5th tiebreaker map, and TSM did secure the victory. They did not go solo mid. They had to fight hard for this one, but they did end up securing it for that tournament win over Sentinels, which is led by Sinatra, former MVP of the Overwatch League. And we also had some awesome LEC and LCS action for League of Legends esports this past weekend, too. I believe both regions have their playoff brackets locked down now. Vitally different, though. NA decided to opt and say, hey, spring is not going to mean absolutely anything in the picture of this, and we're going to end up taking, I think it's 8 teams to playoffs, if I remember correctly. LEC saying spring is definitely going to matter. We're going to take all of our points from spring and factor them into the seeding for summer. So radically different approaches as far as playoff seeding. Let's kick things off with LEC, John, over in Europe before heading home to our shores here in North America. Brief overview. After going 0-10 to kick off the summer split for Schalke 04, they ended up going 8-10 in making playoffs, Sean. This is incredible. Usually when you look at Germany, you look at dominant teams like Bayern Munich really dominating the soccer scene. Yeah, I threw that one in there for you. But overall, this is a German team coming out here, a very staunch German team. They had a strong roster coming in. You can argue that Forgiven was a little bit on the older edge and a little out of practice. They ended up making that roster change pretty early on. And then they come into summer here. They're going 0-10. They end up turning that around for the 8-10 result. Not only a pretty good record at the end, but they end up making playoffs on a miracle run.
Sorry, I'm having to put Pat in his place since he's a Chelsea fan and Chelsea just lost 7-1 aggregate to Bayern in the Champions League. Yeah, they got lucky. Yeah, Bayern got lucky dropping 7 on your Chelsea boys. Yeah, give me a break. We'll talk
John,
about
did Schalke get lucky, though? They get lucky turning their 0-10 to 8-10.
Schalke had an amazing turnaround. Don't get me wrong. Starting 0-10 and then running 8 straight to qualify for the playoffs, in that 7th spot, that's really, really, really impressive to come back from being 0-10. I don't care who you are in what league you play in. It just so happens this is the LEC. Going 8-10 to qualify for the playoffs is a massive turnaround, and they're coming in with some momentum. They're a team that I wouldn't want to play right now.
Absolutely not. They are coming in with heavy, heavy momentum, taking down a lot of big teams like G2 and Fnatic on their way in there as well. I think they took down Mad Lions this week too, who's the number 2 seed. So Schalke red hot heading into playoffs. On top of that, Rogue. John, not only have they stolen the hearts of many fans in EU, but Rogue has come through as the thief to seal the first playoff spot to qualify for Worlds as well. So when we look at the full landscape, NA, EU, LMS, LCK, all of these different regions worldwide, it is EU with Rogue standing atop as that number 1 seed, locking down the first spot to Worlds. This is huge. I don't think this is only big for the region of LEC and EU, but this is giant for Rogue. You're looking at a very young team. They have practically 1 veteran on that team with Han Sama. I mean, overall, there's a lot of young players in this squad, and they've already come out. They've taken down world finalists in G2 and Fnatic. I mean, between G2 and Fnatic, I think that's 3 years of Worlds finalists right there. And they've taken both of them down en route to locking this up. I think that's ginormous for Rogue and EU.
It's absolutely huge for Rogue, huge for EU. I think the more competitive that scene gets, the more competitive, the Western Hemisphere is going to be in Worlds and a lot of other international tournaments for League of Legends. I like it. Right now, LEC definitely leaps and bounds above the LCS in terms of competition and quality of competition. So I welcome it. I think it's a great look for the LEC.
Absolutely. And John, they do have a week off, so we're not going to dive heavy into this playoff bracket, but just to briefly touch on it quickly, we do have a winners bracket and losers bracket. It's double elimination over here in LEC if you are a top 4 seed. Rogue, as the number 1 seed, got a pick between Mad Lions and FNC, both teams who seem to be a little bit on a decline right now. Rogue decided to pick FNC, so that'll be Fnatic and Rogue in your first round matchup for the winners. For the second one, it'll be G2 as that number 2 seed, taking Mad Lions as their opponent. So again, they didn't really have much of a choice. Rogue kind of set it up for everyone. G2 and Mad had a really fun series in the spring, and Mad has looked much stronger than G2 so far in the summer, but things are starting to shift right at the end of the split, so that could be a very exciting one to watch. And then in our losers bracket, we have SK Gaming up against Schalke 04, that team that just pulled off 8 wins in a row to make their way into playoffs, and now they kick things off in the losers bracket at the bottom. One loss and they go home, John. They have SK on the plate, and I feel like Schalke could have some heavy upsets in this tournament. Again, guys, we'll break those matchups down in a lot more detail as we get closer because they do have a week off. So for now, we're going to jump our way over to NA, where the LOL Esports website has actually updated their playoff bracket. Thank you, Riot, for that. Playoffs round 1, John, we have EG up against FlyQuest. I believe these matchups do take place this week. So Evil Geniuses and FlyQuest, both teams, they've shown a lot of life throughout the different splits, both spring and summer, but they both have faltered as well. Now with EG coming with some major roster changes with Golden Glue in that mid lane, Huni in that top lane, do you think EG has enough and enough practice to get it done against FlyQuest here?
They could. I feel like EG is one of those teams. It really depends on what version of EG really does show up. They have the quality on their team to really pull this upset. I would still probably give FlyQuest the edge in it, but I think this is a tough matchup. I feel like out of the first round, that's the toughest one to pick. I would probably say EG does have a chance at pulling the upset.
Our chat is crazy.
They're going insane. They're going nuts.
They've lost it. We have officially lost it here on the live show. Yeah, I have to agree. I think if I had to predict right now, I would predict FlyQuest to win this one. I think 3-1 or 3-2 FlyQuest. I think FlyQuest is a better team, and I think a lot of it's going to run through Santorin. His style of jungle, I think, I'm going to say he can overtake Svenskeren, and I think they both come in with very good veteran presence, but I like Santorin's pacing a lot more as well as his diversity in the jungle, both as a champion pool as well as the way he changes up his clear paths. So I'm going to take FlyQuest. I think it's going to be a really good series, though, overall. Our other matchup here, and it actually takes place before, this will be a Thursday matchup, is Golden Guardians and TSM. I don't know if Squirkle's in chat, but he is a huge stand for the Golden Guardians, and they've really been proving themselves quite well in the summer split so far, coming out, pulling off some decisive victories. I think they took down Cloud9 when they were on a high win streak. They've beat a lot of these other big opponents as well. Do you think TSM is a little too much for them to take here in the playoffs, or do you think Golden Guardians come out clean?
So TSM is riding high. They did lose to Team Liquid in the last week, pretty much giving Cloud9 the 2nd seed overall for the summer playoffs. They're gonna want some revenge, and I think Golden Guardians is gonna give them a good run for their money. I would love to see TSM lose in the first round. I'm not gonna hide that. I am emotionally invested in one of these teams in the LCS, so I would love to see that team's rival drop TSM. But I kind of have to give TSM the advantage in it. I think their veteran leadership will come back in the end. I think they'll learn from that loss from Team Liquid. Golden Guardians are going to give them a good run for their money, though. If I do see this one possibly going 0-5, but I just can't go against TSM with how well they've been playing lately.
Man, NA's bracket looks like a whack job wrote this thing.
It really is. It's a hot mess.
Some of the seeding is just wacky. So yeah, I just don't understand why they wrote this way. Anyway, so then there's a losers bracket part, and it will take place this weekend as well. So I'm going to take TSM actually to pull off the win there. I think it'll be 3-1 or 3-2. I'm going to go 3-2 because I like GG, and I hope they do well in that matchup. But regardless, the loser of EG and FlyQuest and the loser of GG and TSM will eventually drop down and get seeded into 100 Thieves and Dignitas. Personally, John, I do not see either one of the losers, regardless of which of the 4 teams are the losers, losing to 100 Thieves or Dignitas. Do you feel differently?
No, I completely agree with you. 100 Thieves and Dignitas, they're just happy to be in there. 100 Thieves at 7-11, Dignitas at 6-13. Both teams really underperforming. Both teams had a lot of high expectations going into the summer split, and they kind of fell flat on their face. I feel like the losers of round 1 will have no problem beating 100 Thieves and Dignitas.
Glad we are in agreement there. So, guys, we have a lot of fun esports to look forward to this weekend, but we do have a Thursday show before that. And again, that'll be 8 p.m. Eastern time for that one. So we'll cover some more esports news there, but also we might switch things up, ask a few questions to the audience if this is a bit of a lighter week. So some exciting things to come later this week.
Well, Nation, that will do it for this edition of LvLUp Live. Before you go, head on over to patreon.com/OTN and consider becoming a part of the Overtime Network. In return, you will get access to exclusive content that nobody else in the world can get, unless they are a part of OTN Media. If you haven't already, make sure to follow the show on Twitch to catch the next episode of LvLUp Live. If you listen to the show on our podcast feed, leave us a review as well. LvLUp Podcast is available on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Play. We love to hear from you, so make sure you follow us on Twitch or on the podcast. And don't stop there. Hit us up on social media. Interact with us throughout the entire week. Joey, where else can the LvLUp Nation go on social media to hit us up?
LvLUp Nation, OTN fam, head on over to Twitter and find us at LvLUp Live. That is LvLUP Live. In addition to that, follow OTN on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at OTN Media. That's for Twitter and Facebook. Instagram, slightly different. We got a little underscore there, OTN_media. Last but not least, guys, hit us up with a follow on Twitch as well. Come check out the live show. If you're a podcast listener, come jump on live sometime. It is a blast. That is twitch.tv/OTN Media.
All right, make sure you tune in this upcoming Thursday as we cover the latest and greatest in gaming and esports news. Do your ears a favor, slap that sub button to know when the next edition of LvLUp Live is ready for your listening pleasures. We will catch you this Thursday. Remember, be nice to your fellow gamers online. And as always,
Level up.
There's waiting for you, Joey. Where are you at?
I'm distracted.